Welcome to West Coast XC. I'm your host, Ken Martinez. Thanks for watching or listening. If you are watching, please press the subscribe button on YouTube. That'd be awesome. And if you are listening either on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please follow. Thanks. Today's episode, we're going to talk to Coach Albert Caruana about who he thinks should be on the Mt Rushmore of California high school distance runners. And he takes it very seriously, the Mt Rushmore part, and uses that as a historical reference. So please stick around for that. It'll be interesting, and you might have your own opinion, which is I'd be interested in knowing, who is on the Mt Rushmore. We call it Mt Whitney because it's California, but you'll enjoy it. It's well researched, and it'll be worth for you to watch and listen. Last weekend, I was at the USATF Championships in Eugene. Kind of had a strange schedule where on Thursday, I was there Thursday and Sunday. In the middle of it, I had to go and help my daughter move. She's going to law school, and so I had to help her move to a new apartment. So I took pictures on Thursday and Sunday. So if you're interested in those photos, it's on our website or on our bio on our Instagram account. I watched the 10,000 through my lens, and Emily Infield was the champion. She's 35 years old, has never won a USATF championship of any kind, even though she won the bronze medal in the 10,000 in 2015 at the World Championships. She had never won a national championship, and so that was a pretty good. There's a lot of good stories, by the way, in this USATF, and that's one of them. Is Emily Infield. Not maybe one of the favorites to do that, so that made it really fun to watch. In the men's 10,000, there were three athletes that people thought would make it: Nico Young, Grant Fisher, and Graham Blanks, and those were the people that made it. Nico Young won it with Grant Fisher and Graham Blanks coming in second and third. What was kind of crazy about the race is they all went under 4 minutes in the last mile, and that's unbelievable. There's 25 laps, and after lap 21, they broke the 4-minute barrier. That's just amazing. I missed Friday and Saturday, but I can tell you what happened. I watched it on my phone while I was helping my daughter move. We were at a Target and at a Costco shopping for things for her apartment. So I was watching it on my phone, and some of the highlights include Lexi Holiday Lowry and Kenneth Rooks, both from BYU and train in Provo, and were champions in the 3,000 steeplechase. On a side note, because I'm watching on my phone, they kept saying that Valerie Constein was in third, and if you look on your phone, Valerie Constein and Kaylee Mitchell are wearing the same uniform, and on my phone they look similar. They don't look similar when you get up close to them, but they are so I just thought Valerie Constein finished third, but they were incorrect. It was Kaylee Mitchell finishing third. In the 1500, in the women's 1500, Nikki Hiltz and Sinclair Johnson were the two favorites. They went 1-2. In the men's 1500, we had three athletes that 1 year ago today actually finished like first, third, and fifth at the Olympic finals, and only one of them returns, and that was Cole Hawker, who finished third. He's going to go to the World Championships in Tokyo, but some kind of an upset. There was Jonah Koech won it, and Ethan Strand finished second. Those two were unexpected names, although Ethan Strand had a pretty good track season in NCAA. I returned on Sunday, and Sunday was a spectacular day. It was incredible racing. And in the women's 800, Roisin Willis, who's still running at Stanford, won the 800. I don't think that was expected. And so that was really amazing. And then on the men's side, Donovan Brazier, who has been out of track for 3 years because he's had an injured foot, returns a few months ago and then wins it, gets a personal best. And that's just part of the story of the 800 because The high school athlete Cooper Lutenhouse of Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, he finished second, running the fourth fastest time ever by an American at 1:42:27. Gets a 3-second PR. I saw an interview where he said he kind of went middle school strategy and just like kicked in like crazy with 200 meters to go. It was crazy, and it got really loud at Hayward Field, and it was unbelievable. He ends up getting second. Then later that in the meet, the 5,000, Cole Hawker, who really led for most of the 5,000 until the last couple laps when it got a little more strategic and people made their moves. He won it. He won the 5,000 after finishing third in the 1,500 the day before, which is impressive. And Shelby Houlihan, who's been out for 4 years for a doping suspension, she won the 5,000, women's 5,000, and is headed to Tokyo. So those were some amazing races. Again, if you want to watch, look at the photos that I took, you can download those and check out those photos on our website or on Instagram bio. So next, I had this idea. Actually, I was talking to Keenan Gray of Washington, like who's on the Mount Rushmore of Washington? They go, well, I got to start talking to other people from the other two West Coast states. And I got a hold of Albert Caruana, who knows his stuff, and he researched it. And please stay tuned as we will go over the top 4 distance runners in high school of California based on Albert's research. Well, we're happy to have Coach Albert Caruana back. Hey, Coach, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed doing these.
So Coach Caruana is a longtime teacher and coach at Crystal Springs Uplands, and he also is the editor-in-chief of the Cross Country Express, expert in the field of track and cross country in California. That's why I have him on, because I thought it'd be kind of fun. I'm going to do this to Washington and Oregon too. Like, who's on the Mount Rushmore? The 4 girls and the 4 boys. Mount Rushmore is located in South Dakota, Coach, but we're going to call it maybe the Mount Whitney. It's the tallest mountain in California. And I kind of like to make sure I knew what I was doing. I researched this too, and I Googled, and it has been kind of done already by you. You did this in 2016. You didn't do a Mount Rushmore, but you did like a basketball tournament type thing of the best runners in California history.
Yeah, that was something that was started by another editor that was also involved with the California Mile Split site, and I forgot about it. You know, sometimes it's funny, you write things and you move on, and then you find it and you go, oh wow, that was pretty cool. And a lot of the names that will be brought up today were brought up in that article, and obviously since then there's been other additions, but yeah, it's something I really enjoy. I love going back, looking at history, and I think that was something when I was a high school runner. You know, I learned about Emil Zatopek and runners like that, and that was something I really enjoyed.
So I do for my research, wrote down, partly from your article from 2016 and from since we've had some pretty great runners since 2016. It's just the names are incredible. It's not going to be easy to put 4 people on Mount Rushmore. Mount Whitney. Let's start with the girls. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, well, first of all, before I ask about the girls, let's talk about your criteria. Are you just focusing on their high school accomplishments, or do you take account what happened in college or if they become professional runners?
Right. Full disclosure here, I asked Ken Reeves, who's one of the best California coaches ever, and he did a lot of research, and I think the way it ended up working out is that this was primarily based on their high school success. And he also mentioned a little bit about the Mount Rushmore, how it was presidents that did 2 terms. So I believe all 4 presidents did 2 terms. So it was runners that were very successful over 4 years, not just some flash in the pan like some senior. So I think it's high school only accomplishments and somebody who did it over a long period of time.
Right. Which is tricky because girls, can tend to have a nice long
Sure.
4 year career. And boys like me, I was like 5 feet tall as a freshman,
Yeah.
and then I became stronger as I became older.
Right. So yeah, a little more difficult for boys, but I think yeah, there's definitely contenders.
All right. Okay. So before we go to the 4 girls that are on your Mount Rushmore, what were the handful of girls that you were like, man, they just missed it? I'm so sorry. Who
Yeah.
are some
So
people that just missed it?
yeah. So I believe in track, they added girls in 1977. So there were runners before that, and then cross country, the California State Meet started in 1987. So if you look at the history of California cross country and track, there were runners before that that were really good, but you wouldn't see them as state champions. So there was a couple that Ken mentioned, and the first one was Francie LaRue.
Right.
So she was Fremont High School in Sunnyvale, ran on the boys cross country team, but was not allowed to compete on the high school track and field team. Um, she she ran for the San Jose Cinder Gals, and she won first national title in 1500, tied American record as a 16-year-old, traveled to Europe, competed as a junior, senior in high school, made 72 Olympic team in 1500, and but she was out of high school by then. So she's definitely one. Another one would be Mary Decker. Mary Decker, I probably most well known for her fall in the 84 Olympics, but obviously was a super runner, world champion in 83. But in high school, she once again didn't compete for her high school team, was international star. Ninth grade year, she broke the high school record for the 800 and then won the 800 in the USA, USSR dual meet, which were huge back then. They would
Yeah.
also broke the high school record for the mile that year. 74, she broke the high school record um, 3 times. And so those are definitely two before kind of like the when you officially start to see results. And then there were others. I mean, there's Dina Drawson, better known as Dina Castor, Sarah Baxter, Julia Stamps, Christine Babcock, Lauren Fleshman. So those are, I think, all girls that are in the mix, and that all multiple state champions, national, record holders. So I think those are ones that are definitely in the mix there.
Okay. So who are you going to put on Mount Whitney?
Right. So the first one that was selected was Kathy Costello, who ran at Pleasant Hill, and I would say probably most people wouldn't know who she is, but basically, official beginning of California Girls Mount Rushmore was the Norco section cross country champion as a senior. It was three-time league champion in cross country. Set national federation records in the 880 and the mile. Was the only girl to ever win the double at the state meet until Sadie did it. So she won the 880. So if you go back and look at the history, she won the 880 and the mile twice. Um, in 74, she won the 880 in the first girls state meet, set a national federation record. 75, she came back and won the 880 and the mile, setting national records in both events. And then with her two victories, Pleasant Hill finished second as a team in that meet. So she's kind of like one of the
She's George
original.
Washington.
What's this?
She's the
Yeah,
George Washington of Mount
correct.
Whitney,
Yeah. Yes.
the founder of the first great female high school athlete.
Right. So she's the first one. The next one, I'm quite familiar with her because she also competed in Division 5, and I still remember being at the Woodward Park and watching her run by. So this is Jordan Hesse.
Okay.
She ran by in the Division 5 race, and it felt like 2 minutes later, here comes second place.
Hmm.
So Jordan Hesse ran at Mission College Prep. She definitely accelerated the growth of girls cross country and track and field. Um, Mount Sac meets were packed when she ran. So this is once again, this is from Ken, but fans rushed to see her races. He announced her first cross country race in high school and last cross country race in high school. She was four-time state champion in cross country, four-time state champion in 3200. I believe she won Foot Locker as a freshman and then won it as a senior.
Which I think
And
is pretty awesome to do
yeah,
that, a bookend like that.
yeah. I mean, she was, at, and I, I think I was there when at Stanford she was leading the Stanford Invitational, and she was so far ahead. And I believe I don't know, I think it was her, but she collapsed. And but you know, like all the, let's see, high school. She ran the open 5,000 at Mount Sac relays, but just super successful. And you know, like we talked about, we're only considering high school accomplishments. Obviously, she went on to do great things past high school as well.
I think her junior year in high school, she came up for the Olympic trials in 2008.
Right.
And if
Yeah, the
she made the
1500.
finals, I think, or semifinals, she made it. And of course, the fans in Eugene, she hadn't committed to any schools yet, but they were really excited,
Yeah.
encouraging her.
I remember that they were chanting, yeah, come to Eugene or something, or
Yeah.
come to Oregon or something like that. Yeah.
So I think it's 2006, I put on this meet Nike Portland XC, and we were changing locations to the um, place where NXN was at the Portland Meadows. And we thought, can we run races every 15 or 20 minutes? And I said, well, the only way to find out how to do that is to fly down to Mount Sac because they run every
Right.
15, 20 minutes. And that was the year that she was a freshman. And I got to see her run, and she just dominated.
Yeah.
Her like hair was long, almost as long as her. She was just this
Oh,
tiny
yeah.
little gal, and she just dominated.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's the same with the boys and girls. I think there are you know, like there's so many runners. I mean, California is rich in history and distance running, but I think she's definitely one that, like, you know what, like she definitely belongs on that on the top four list.
Absolutely. Okay. So now
Okay.
can you say the gal's name from Pleasant Hill again?
Kathy Costello.
Kathy Costello.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kathy with a K.
And then we have Jordan Hussein. Okay.
Right. And then the next one is Sarah Bay. So she ran at Montgomery High School. We already mentioned Julia Stamps, who ran at Santa Rosa High School. And so Sarah Bay, so this from Ken, quietly sparked development in girls cross country track and field, set a standard that'll be tough to match. Santa Rosa schools continue to contribute to excellence on the women's side. You know, if you look at Santa Rosa female runners, they've had some incredible runners in that, and she was definitely one of them. Sarah was the first four-time California state champion in cross country. She was also a three-time state champion in track and field. She won Foot Locker in 2000 and three-time Foot Locker national qualifier. Um, let's see, as a sophomore at the state track and field meet, um, let's see. As a junior, she was once again second in 1600, 3200. Senior took second, once again 1600. In eight trips to the state meet, this is in tracks. Sarah won seven titles, finished runner-up in track five times. Was the track and field news high school athlete of the year. So
I took my team from Oregon to Foot Locker at Mount Sac, and she was a senior, and she had been there 3 years in a row.
yeah,
And that last hill at Mount Sac is just so rough. And she just struggled, and she didn't make the team. And I remember they interviewed her like on the intercom.
yeah,
You could hear it everywhere. And she was so gracious.
yeah,
She had to be so disappointed. And I makes me scratch my head a little bit why they have it at Mount Sac when it's like nothing like
yeah.
it's just not, it's a rough course. It's a rough qualifying course. But I felt bad for her. But I always remember her being unbelievably gracious with the
Yeah,
interviewer, even though she had to be crushed.
yeah. So the first time I saw her run was actually at the Artichoke Invitational at Half Moon Bay. And I can't remember if I was coaching or if I just went there to watch. But same thing with Jordan Hesse. I just remember her going by, and she was a freshman in high school back then. And it was like, wow. And you know, just dominating the field. So I got to see her, you know, competing as a freshman. And I mean, and she's in her 40s now and still one of the top American runners in
Right.
the marathon.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So now we put our last person on Mount Whitney. Who is that?
Okay, so the last one is Sadie Engelhardt. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see her compete last year as a senior in track, but so ran at Ventura High School again. So she's basically, we talked about Mount Rushmore. There's the beginning, but there's also a preservation part, and she's kind of the preservation of the sport. Another one who drew a crowd, you know,
Yes, very
um, and
popular.
and I remember, I think I saw her times from her eighth grade year, and I'm whoa. I mean, it was like like high schoolers would dream about running what she was running in eighth grade. Three-time state champion in cross country, helped lead her team to a state title as a junior, state champion in track and field in 1600 three times, 800 once, 4x8 once, and I'm sure you were there when she got the baton,
Yes.
dropped it again, got the baton, then
Yeah.
ran down the leader and ended up winning. Helped her team secure a second place plaque at this state track and field meet. Was National Gatorade Overall Athlete of the Year last year. Has set
All
numerous.
sports. That's the thing you should know. It's not just
Yeah,
track.
yeah. I
You won it
mean,
all.
yeah, and it always felt like even when she was a freshman, she just looked like I don't know. There's like post-collegiate women that are out there running and they look like pros. That's what she's looked like all 4 years in high
Mhm.
school.
Yeah,
Uh,
I took pictures at the Portland Track Festival when she was an eighth grader and she was in the professional heat and did fine.
yeah,
So I knew she was coming. And
yeah,
yeah, and she had a pretty good battle her freshman year with Dalia
yeah,
Frias of Miracosta. And so yeah, I
yeah,
mean it's hard to win two of like to do that double that she did her I think it was her sophomore year, that 16 and the
yeah,
8. That's just
yeah,
really hard to do. We talked about this year's meet with Hannah Thompson doing the 16 and 32. That's hard, but there
yeah,
is a couple hours in between. That
sure.
1600 to 8 is not a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, and I think what happens is it means you won the 1600 and then you're doubling back to the 800, less rest, and then you got the 800 specialist, waiting for her. More
Right,
than
who's
likely
fresh.
that's, yeah, more than likely, yeah, that's their first. Well, I mean, they would have to run the trials, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. So it was fun to watch your race. And you're right about you talked about, people gathering to watch Jordan Hesse race. I'd watch her when she wasn't running, and she was another gracious athlete
Yeah,
signing autographs. And not, well, they don't know if they sign autographs anymore. I think she was doing selfies and stuff like that.
yeah,
And my wife was at Clovis with me, and she had a camera, and she took a cute picture of Sadie with the snack bar ladies at
yeah,
Clovis at Woodward Park because they know who she is. It
yeah,
was just really she's very gracious with the fans and all. And I saw her run last week, and I saw her run it last month in Portland, and she didn't have a track season, but she still was able to run like 407 or
yeah,
408.
yeah.
So yeah, she had a pretty, I mean, a little, she had an injury, but she eventually got herself into pretty good shape. And
Yeah, it's definitely, I know that was a tough choice, but when you're a girl at that level, it's just there's not competition. Like if you have a spectacular, fast boy, you can go to some meets and have competition. Like Sadie, there was only one girl that would have been competitive with her, and obviously would have been a fantastic match. But yeah, it's just really hard. And I think, they just made the decision based on, hey, we need to race collegiate and post-collegiate runners in order for us to run as fast as we potentially could.
well, that's great. We've got the four athletes here. Now we're going to go to the boys. Um, who are some of the young men? You talk about the girls, since maybe the 70s they started. The boys have a much longer history.
Right.
So this will be interesting to see what kids almost made Mount Whitney. What were some of the athletes that almost made it?
Yeah, the boys, there's so many. I mean, you can and this is not a complete list. Like so, a couple of the names that were mentioned was Jeff Nelson. So he was set national record in 2 mile, ran 8:36.3 and 79. was finally broken in 2008, ran at Burbank High School. You had Eric Hulst, two-time state champion, 2 mile, 176, IAAF World Cross Country Championship under the under 19 race, and led the U.S. team to the team title. Tom Hunt, 177 World Cross Country Championship junior race. Broke high school indoor record, ran 4:02 in the mile, and I think Alan Webb was the one that broke his record. You had Brian Damort, who ran at Agora, I think same high school as Dina,
Right.
and he was a three-time Kinney qualifier. He did it as a ninth grader. He would have done it 4 times, but he was knocked down as a sophomore, so didn't make it 4 times. But pretty amazing for a boy to qualify for that meet.
Absolutely. I coached in his league, and he
Yeah,
was a big boy. He was a
yeah,
strong boy.
right. No, I've seen photos of him, and state cross country champ, first year in '87 when they finally had a state
Mhm.
championship in cross country. Terry Williams ran at Lompoc High
Yeah.
School, so he was state champion 73. Lompoc High School is probably considered like among one of the
The
greatest,
greatest
like,
teams ever. Correct.
and he was the leader of that team. And then Roman Gomez, he was
From Belmont. Yeah. Back
yeah.
to back.
So he's the only California runner to win 1600 and 3200 back-to-back years
Yeah.
in 84, 85. Blake Haney got close. So Blake Haney won the 1600 twice, won the 3200, and then in the 3200 as a senior got beat by Fred Huxham of Redwood, and he almost matched that record, but pretty incredible. And Roman Gomez, um, I don't know what it. I believe it was 84. Matt Justo, I think, was third behind him, and obviously Matt went on to great success. He was Kinney cross country champion,
Right.
the Olympic team in '96. So pretty amazing feat.
Yeah. So those are the kids that almost made it. We almost
Yeah,
chiseled their faces on Mount Whitney.
yeah.
So let's do it. Who are our four? I'm excited.
Okay, so once again, like this is from Ken, and I'm the messenger, but I totally agree with and it's great that there's like different eras that are covered. So the first one is actually Luis Zamperini. So
Yes.
so he's obviously more well known because of the book and the movie
Right.
Unbroken, and lived to 97 years old, which is amazing. So somebody, prisoner of war, lived to 97 years old. Quite a life. Good place to start for the beginning of California distance running. Was undefeated in cross country for 4 years. Set national record in the mile that stood for 22 years. Was also California state champion in the mile when distance runners could only run one race.
Oh, wow.
So
She could have
yeah,
dominated.
I didn't know that. I know in Oregon, what's the
Distance runners cannot triple. They can double, but
right?
they can't triple.
Yeah, apparently it's the what was the school that was very successful? Um, what was the high school that was super successful and that had what's it?
The creator schools?
No, no, no. This is back then, I think in the 70s.
Oh, South Eugene dominated.
Yeah.
Yes.
So people call it the South Eugene rule. It was to prevent from the runners from like tripling at the state meet and just
Yeah. Jim Thorpe, I used to like win meets by himself too.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Zamperini is the first one. Ran at South Torrance, and obviously was, aside from his fame, from the book and the movie, was a spectacular runner. I think almost made the Olympic team, and or
Well, he made the Olympic team as a
yeah,
senior,
right. Yeah,
and his specialty was the 1500.
right.
But for whatever reason, I can't remember why, he ran the 5,000 at the trials,
Yeah,
which he had never done,
yeah,
and made the team in the 5,000
yeah,
and made the final and was like in the hunt for a while.
yeah,
He's just finished his senior. I mean, he was an old senior. He's 19. You know how that goes
right.
with the boys. But still, he was a senior and Torrance, and he was in the 36 Olympics.
Yeah.
And who
Yeah.
knows
So
what he could have done afterwards if there wasn't World War II. He could have done great
r-
stuff. And
yeah,
they say he could have broken the 4 minute barrier had that
yeah,
not been interrupted.
yeah. No, I mean he was obviously an amazing competitor and definitely proved his toughness later on.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah. So the next one is Rich Kimball. So he ran at Jesuit and De La Salle. So so nice place for the growth of distance running. First guy to win the 2 mile, 1 mile double at the state meet. Ran two legendary programs in the state, De La Salle and Jesuit. So started out Jesuit, then went to De La Salle. Set sophomore record in 5K. Won track and field news postal competition for a 3 mile and ran 8:46 and 4:06 in the 1 mile at the state meet for a double victory for the first time. He ran 52 high school track races as a senior, which is amazing. Was undefeated in high school cross country senior year, set national record 1500. Also won the world under U19 cross country title in 74 when that was a big thing. And he won the 5,000 meters in the USSR meet.
Wow. Yeah. And for those people that are watching this, the US, the the USSR USA meet
Yeah,
was a big deal. They would
right,
sometimes have it at the Coliseum or Edwards Stadium in
right.
Berkeley, and it would be sold out. It was a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. No, I've definitely heard about it. And yeah, so to be able to compete there and win it, pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
So the next one, and I would think out of all the runners that are selected, like this is like the one, like, okay, that guy belongs on this list, and that's German Fernandez.
Yeah.
So ran a river bank, course record holder at the state meet and Woodward Park, lowered mark by 14 seconds. I was there like last race of the day, warm. I mean, it was incredible. Goes across the finish line, collapses to the ground. Um, I believe he's still the state meet record holder in 1600 and 3200. It's the most ridiculous double ever, I think, in high school track and field running. Ran four flat in the 1600, came back and ran, I think, 8:34 in the 3200 on a warm day. I mean, to run those times individually, amazing. To run them both on the same day is ridiculous. Uh,
And it's, the kids that are amazing right now are doing crazy stuff.
sure.
And that wasn't quite the case at that time in history too. So
Yeah.
he's running like he could jump into the state meet this year and dominate
Yeah.
this year's state meet against
Yeah.
some very deep field. I mean,
Yeah.
2008, it's kids
Yeah.
weren't doing that.
And what could he have run with the shoes that they're
The
wearing
shoes,
now?
yes. And
Like,
then, checking on other people's Strava and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So let's see. So he won Foot Locker West Regional. This was a senior, got third at nationals, broke Jeff Nelson's national record for 2 mile, broke Galen Rupp's high school 3K record, and he was track and field high school athlete of the year too as a senior. So like I said, he's the one guy who's like, okay, this guy belongs there. There's no
Then
debate.
what do you do? Yes,
Yeah,
I would agree. If I was making my Mount Whitney, he's there
yeah,
first. Then you have a real problem. What do you do for the next three?
yeah. And then the last one is Nico Young of Newbury Park. So I think when you look at all the top runners, obviously runners now are running like incredible times, and they may overshadow runners from the past. But I think Nico is one guy who is just super successful, ran fast, and so let's see, he was a two-time state champion cross country. At NXN, I believe he was fourth as a junior, and then he
Right.
won it as a senior. Led Newbury Park to the team title in 2019. Only lost one race as a junior in track and field, and was undefeated in 32 as a senior. Was Gatorade State National Athlete of the Year in both cross country and track. Ran 13:50 for 5K on the track during COVID years. And let's see. Yeah, and let's see. Set the national high school 3K record 7:56:57, and obviously has gone on to, we're only counting high school
I know.
accomplishments, but You know, he just made the world championship team,
Yeah,
and
twice.
yeah, and I believe what broke the American record in the 5K.
Yeah, in June. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So
I was in at Hayward Field when that happened, and his brother was running the 1500 that day, and his parents were there to watch the twin, and then their son is over in Europe breaking an American record. That's
yeah,
crazy. That's an amazing family. I watched Nico Young win that NXN, and what I want to say about that is, you don't. I mean, you saw Jane Hedegren do this
yeah,
December. So if we were doing the Utah Mount
yeah,
Rushmore, we know she'd be on it, right?
sure.
Um, he dominated that race. Like
Yeah,
he went out so hard. I thought, well, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing because these
yeah,
are high quality athletes here
yeah,
that are behind him. These are not. This is the best in the nation,
yeah,
and he never let. Then I don't think they ever closed the gap. He
yeah,
obliterated the field. And it looks like from just looking at his facial expression, it's 100%
yeah,
all the time. It's not like he's just waiting for the big moment.
yeah.
He's hurting.
No, it always looks like he's about to like just falter and just keeps going, and
He has an incredible pain threshold.
yeah, and now he's added a pretty good kick, and
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
we were talking about this I'm on that Monday Zoom call with other coaches, and the American men, the team we're sending to the World Championship is
Very
ridiculous.
good.
Yeah.
Like medals. They can get medals. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have like competitive runners and you know all practically all the distance races.
Yeah. And if you're a fan of the sport, I've been here a long time, and you know that there are times we only sent one athlete per event because that's the only one
Right.
that could qualify, or two athletes. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. It's kind of happening right now in the triple jump. It's kind of like, it's what? We can't
Yeah.
get three people in the triple jump.
Yeah.
So
I mean for like Nagoose not to be able to make like the 1500 team,
yes.
you know, and here's a Olympic third place finisher.
Or Grant Fisher, who got two medals in the
Yeah.
Olympics, doesn't win both races or one of
Yeah.
the races. It's
Yeah.
and then and the Hawker finishes third after being the champion. It's tough. Well, Coach, this was fun. I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
I appreciate the research. I want to give a shout out to Ken Reeves, who was a
Definitely.
longtime
Yeah.
coach at Nordhoff High School and then at Foothill Technology, for helping you too. He's helped me for some research also. He's very amazing. He knows
Yeah.
his stuff. So, um, okay, we've got him up here. We've got Kathy Costello, Jordan Hasse, Sarah Bay, Sadie Englehart, Louis Zamperini, which I would have never known he existed until that book came out.
Yeah.
I read the book before the movie, and I'm so glad I read it because now I realize, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he was amazing. Rich Kimball, German Fernandez, and Nico Young. That's a stellar group.
Yeah.
We need one more athlete on each of these to have a scoring five, but we got it.
Yeah, well, there's definitely other, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's very subjective. I mean,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think if you have 20 historians and say like, hey, you come up with the top four boys and girls, you're gonna have 20 different,
Right. And it depends how old you are too. If you've been
yeah.
around a while, you remember the 50s and 60s,
Sure.
So
And where you coached, I mean, you know,
correct.
like obviously the southern section, there's been more great runners in that area. So if you're in that area, you're going to be a little more biased toward the runners from there. But you know, there've been other runners. So Rich Kimball ran in the Sac Joaquin section, NCS. Fernandez ran in the Sac Joaquin section, and yeah,
Well, Albert, the thing I liked about your list is it went in different eras. It's like not just the last 10 years.
right. And I think that was the idea to emulating what the original, you know, intent of the Mount Rushmore. So, and you know, the longevity and not just consider like the latest and the greatest. And I think when people make top 10 lists and things like that, they're biased toward recent, you know, recency bias, and I think it's important to recognize that there was Bill Russell was a great basketball player, and you know Ted Williams was a great baseball player, and I think it's important that those people are recognized as well.
And it's not just that, would Bill Russell be as successful in the NBA today? That's not what we're talking about. They were
Yeah,
great basketball players when they played
Right.
basketball in their
Right.
era. And
Yeah.
so you can say with Kathy, who's running when there really weren't that many girls running,
Yeah.
and probably was forced to run with the boys, and it was probably not pleasant. There were not very many races for her. And then you
Yeah.
have Louis Zamperini, who's, when it's, I mean, I went to high school in California. We were running on dirt tracks, and that was his experience too. Probably Rich Campbell too. That
Yeah.
was probably his experience too. And shoes weren't so great. And
Yeah.
getting
No,
shoes,
I
shoes.
yeah, I still remember when I ran high school, mostly dirt tracks. There was three tracks that were all weather, and one of them was the College of San Mateo track, and it was a black track. And when it was hot, it would melt, and you
It'd be
would,
on your spikes, wouldn't it?
yeah. So apparently you needed to spray Pam on the bottom of your shoe so it doesn't. But I didn't know that back then. And
Okay, so I'm going to age myself. Arcadia, we had two back-to-back meets in Southern California when I was in high school, Arcadia and Mount Sac. And Mount Sac actually was a little bit more prestigious than Arcadia.
yeah,
Why? Because Arcadia was on a dirt track
right,
and Mount Sac was on a fantastic, we were part, when you ran that, Mary Decker was there and Carl Lewis was there. I mean,
right,
it was a big deal. It was a season opener for most sprinters and distance runners. And then at Mount Sac, they checked your spikes
right.
because you were at these dirt tracks and your spikes were like this big and they didn't
Yeah,
want their track getting destroyed. So you had to show your spikes before you came in.
yeah. I just remember, wearing the long spikes and the sound you made when you ran on the
Click,
dirt
click, click,
tracks.
click,
And
click. Yeah.
yeah,
So Luis knows that. Louis Zamperini knows that. Rich probably knows that. And Kathy knows that too. Well, Coach, I sure appreciate taking the time to research. It's not easy to do this. It takes time. And I appreciate you coming on. And this was really fun. I got to see some of these athletes and I remember them quite well.
yeah. No, like I said, it's something I really enjoy. It's fun to talk about, and it's great, like discussion.
All right, Coach. We'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Thank you. We want to thank Coach Albert Caruana for coming on and giving his thoughtful opinions on who is in the Mount Whitney, aka Mount Rushmore of California high school distance runners. And like I mentioned in the previous segment, it was great that we went over just different eras and how they were important to the history of California running, just like the presidents had impacts throughout our U.S. history. I thought that was a nice criteria. And thanks, extra shout out to Ken Reeves. When I was coaching at Channel Islands High School in Oxnard, Ken Reeves was up at Nordhoff, which is a small school, and they were incredible. We had 3,000 students. I don't know, maybe they had 800 students, and they could compete with the big school teams. And so he knows his stuff. So I appreciate Coach Caruana reaching out to Coach Reeves and getting his opinion. If you have your opinion, please make your opinions made in the comments, either here on YouTube or on our Instagram account. Who do you think are on the top 4 all-time greats? Well, until next time, remember that the West Coast is the best coast. Thanks for watching and listening.